Sometimes it's not your enemies who hurt you the most. It's the people you love the deepest. It's the ones you trusted blindly. And what's worse, you keep forgiving them, hoping they'll change. But they don't. And in that process, you're the one breaking piece by piece. Sometimes, what keeps us holding on to someone is not love at all. It just feels like it. It feels familiar, it feels deep, and it feels necessary. But the truth is, many times what we call as love is actually attachment. It's a deep emotional habit we've built over time. We mistake the comfort of someone's presence for the meaning of their love. We say, I can't imagine my life without them, not because they bring peace, but because we've forgotten what peace feels like without their chaos. Attachment is tricky. It convinces you that suffering is a sign of commitment. It whispers, if I just stay a little longer, they'll finally see my worth. But love doesn't demand you to shrink so someone else can stay comfortable. Love doesn't ask you to abandon yourself just to keep someone else happy. True love nourishes you. It doesn't drain you. It doesn't keep you walking on eggshells, wondering what mood they'll be in today. When we are attached, we confuse intensity with intimacy. We think the emotional highs and lows, the constant push and pull, are proof of deep connection. But that's not love, that's emotional addiction. Real love is calm, it's peaceful. It doesn't make you question your worth every time you argue. It doesn't make you beg for attention or chase after validation. It simply is. It flows naturally, without fear, without control, without needing to prove itself. Sometimes we hold on because we believe that leaving means we didn't care enough. But that's not true. You can love someone and still realize they're not good for your mental health. You can care deeply and still know you have to let go. Love without peace will slowly destroy your joy, your confidence, and your sense of self. When love turns into a battlefield, where every word becomes a weapon and every day feels like a test, you have to ask yourself, am I growing with this person, or am I losing myself trying to keep them? Attachment keeps you trapped in cycles of hope and disappointment. You keep waiting for that one good day, that one right moment when things finally change. But love isn't supposed to feel like waiting in pain. It's supposed to feel like being at home. And home is not a place where you're always defending yourself or explaining why you deserve kindness. When you let go of attachment, you make space for real love. Love that's rooted in respect, peace, and understanding. You start realizing that love is not about how tightly you can hold on, but how gently you can let go when holding on starts to hurt. You understand that true love doesn't imprison you, it sets you free. So don't confuse attachment with love. One is built on fear, fear of losing, fear of being alone, fear of starting over. The other is built on freedom, the freedom to grow, to be yourself, and to give without losing your soul in the process. Love helps you rise, attachment keeps you chained. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is release the hand you're clinging to and finally reach for your own heart. Forgiving someone doesn't mean you have to keep allowing them to hurt you. It doesn't mean you have to keep the door open for their behavior to walk back in. Forgiveness is not about pretending it never happened. It's not about saying, it's okay. Because sometimes it's not okay. What forgiveness really means is freeing yourself from the emotional weight of what they did, not freeing them from the responsibility of it. You see, when someone hurts you deeply, the pain doesn't just stay in your heart. It seeps into your thoughts, your sleep, your peace, your energy. You replay the moments over and over again, trying to understand why. Forgiveness doesn't erase the memory, but it helps you detach your identity from that pain. You're no longer the person who was betrayed. You become the person who chose peace over bitterness. But here's the misunderstanding many of us fall into. We think forgiving someone means we have to keep them close. We think it means we have to keep giving them chances over and over again because good people forgive. But good people also have boundaries. Good people also know when it's time to walk away. Forgiveness is not a ticket back into your life. It's just a release from your heart. When you continue to tolerate someone's repeated disrespect in the name of forgiveness, you're not being kind. You're being self-destructive. You're teaching them that they can hurt you without consequence. And the more you allow it, the more they'll repeat it, because pain, when accepted silently, becomes permission. Real forgiveness doesn't need proximity. You can forgive someone from across the world. You can forgive someone and never speak to them again. You can send them peace in your prayers while keeping them far from your life. Forgiveness is not reconciliation. Reconciliation requires effort from both sides, honesty from both hearts, and healing from both souls. Forgiveness only requires one thing: your decision to stop letting what they did continue to control you. Think about this. When you hold anger, resentment, or hate, it doesn't hurt them. It hurts you. It poisons your heart. It clogs your peace. It distorts your view of life. But when you forgive, you unclench that tight fist around your pain. You stop letting them live rent-free in your mind. You reclaim your inner space. That's power. That's liberation. Forgiveness, however, does not mean tolerance. You can forgive someone and still say, no more. You can forgive them and still shut the door, gently but firmly. You can forgive and still walk away without guilt. Because forgiveness is about your healing, not about giving them another chance to break you again. People often say, but what if they change? And yes, maybe they will. But your forgiveness doesn't depend on their change. It depends on your peace. Let them grow in their own time. You don't have to stand in the fire waiting to see if it burns differently next time. Forgiveness means saying, I refuse to carry this pain anymore. But it also means saying, I refuse to let this pain continue. You can release the bitterness without reopening the wound. You can bless them from afar and still protect your boundaries. Because at the end of the day, forgiveness is an act of love, not for them, but for yourself. When you stop confusing forgiveness with tolerance, you begin to understand the real meaning of compassion. Compassion is not allowing harm to continue. It's having the courage to end the cycle with kindness in your heart and strength in your soul. So forgive them, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. And after you forgive, let go. Because you can't heal in the same place that broke you. Pain is one of life's greatest teachers, but it was never meant to be your permanent address. You were never meant to live in pain, only to learn from it. Yet so many of us pitch our tents in the middle of our suffering. We replay the hurt, relive the memories, and rebuild our days around the wounds that others left behind. We convince ourselves that staying in pain somehow proves our strength, our loyalty, or our love. But pain was never meant to define you, only to refine you. When someone hurts us, the emotional impact can be so deep that it feels like it rewires our hearts. We start to measure every new relationship, every new opportunity, every ounce of happiness against that hurt. What if it happens again? Becomes the background noise of our thoughts. Slowly, without even realizing it, pain becomes our comfort zone, familiar, predictable, strangely safe. Because at least in pain, we know what to expect. But the problem is, staying in pain doesn't heal you. It just keeps you stuck in the story of what happened, instead of allowing you to write what comes next. Think about it like this: pain is like fire. It can burn you, yes, but it can also purify you, illuminate what truly matters, and teach you what to never touch again. The purpose of fire is to transform, not to consume endlessly. Similarly, the purpose of pain is to awaken you, not to imprison you. When you stay in pain, when you keep rehearsing the hurt, you start confusing suffering with significance. You start believing that holding on to what broke you somehow honors what you lost. But in truth, staying broken doesn't honor anyone. It only dishonors your own potential to heal. Sometimes we say, "I can't move on, it still hurts." But what we really mean is, "I'm afraid of who I'll be without this story." We cling to the pain because it gives us identity, a reason, a narrative. We become the one who was betrayed, the one who was left, the one who was hurt. But you are so much more than your scars. Pain is a chapter, not the title of your life. The moment you realize that, healing begins. When you decide to step out of pain, it doesn't mean the memory disappears. It means you start relating to it differently. You begin to look at it not with resentment, but with wisdom. You stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" That's when growth begins, when you shift from being a victim of pain to being a student of it. Every wound holds a message. Pain teaches you who you can trust, what you deserve, what you should never tolerate again. It makes you softer in the right places, more empathetic, more aware, more grounded. But it also makes you stronger where you once were fragile. Pain gives you boundaries. It gives you perspective. It forces you to value peace more than attention, silence more than drama, truth more than promises. But staying in pain, staying in that endless loop of "why me?" keeps you blind to all those lessons. It keeps you living in yesterday's storm, even though today's sun is shining. Healing requires courage. It requires you to say, "Yes, it happened. Yes, it hurt. But I'm not living there anymore." That's not denial. That's wisdom. That's reclaiming your power from the people and the moments that once took it away. You see, pain will knock on every heart. It doesn't discriminate, but only a few learn to open the door, take the lesson, and then let it leave. The rest, they let pain move in, rearrange the furniture, and take over their peace. Don't let that be you. You are not meant to live in the echo of your hurt. You are meant to rise from it. So when you feel the ache, don't run from it. Sit with it. Listen to what it's trying to tell you. But once you understand the message, move. Don't set up camp in your suffering. Don't make pain your home. Pain is just a visitor. It's there to break your walls, not your spirit. It's there to clean your heart, not to claim your life. Learn from your pain, thank it for what it taught you, and then let it go. Because life has more to offer than the memory of your wounds. The sun doesn't stop rising because you had a dark night, and neither should you. When someone shows you who they truly are, believe them. Don't try to repaint them with the colors of your imagination. Don't cling to the version of them you wish existed. So many of us get trapped in relationships, friendships, romances, even family ties, because we fall in love with potential, not reality. We see glimpses of kindness, moments of effort, flashes of affection, and we convince ourselves that's who they truly are. But the truth is, Consistency reveals character, not moments. When a person constantly disrespects you, ignores your boundaries, belittles your feelings, or hurts you repeatedly, they are showing you who they are choosing to be. But instead of accepting that truth, we often start making excuses. They're just stressed. They didn't mean it. They'll change once things calm down. And little by little, we start rewriting reality. We start painting over red flags with bright colors of hope. But the more we do that, the more we distance ourselves from truth, and the closer we move to pain. We all have this tendency to see not the person standing in front of us, but the person we believe they could become. We imagine that with enough love, enough patience, enough sacrifice, they'll wake up one day and finally see how much we care. But love cannot be a project. You cannot build someone's maturity with your suffering. You cannot teach respect through your silence. You cannot prove your worth to someone who doesn't want to value you. Believing someone's true colors doesn't mean you hate them. It simply means you've stopped denying reality. It means you've stopped expecting consistency from someone who's only consistent in causing pain. It means you're choosing peace over potential. Because no matter how many times you repaint someone's actions with hope, their behavior will always bleed through. It's easy to fall for words, promises, apologies, sweet reassurances that sound like music to your tired heart. But words are just air. It's actions that show truth. You can say, "I love you," 1,000 times, but if your actions bring pain, your words lose meaning. Watch how they treat you when you're vulnerable, when you make mistakes, when you need support. That's where their true colors shine through. Not in the moments they need you, but in the moments you need them. One of the hardest lessons in life is realizing that you can't change someone by loving them harder. You can inspire them, you can guide them, you can forgive them. But change is a decision that must come from within. And if someone keeps hurting you, lying to you, disrespecting you, they're not confused, they're comfortable. Because you've taught them, through repeated forgiveness and tolerance, that their actions come without consequence. At some point, you must stop asking, "Why do they keep doing this to me?" and start asking, "Why do I keep allowing it?" When you see their true colors and still choose to stay, you're not a victim anymore, you're a participant. That's the moment life demands strength from you. That's when you have to stop painting them as someone they're not and finally see them for what they are. Not through the lens of your love, but through the lens of their choices. We often say, "But they weren't always like this." Maybe not. But who they were isn't who they are now. People change, sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. And when they change for the worse, you must have the courage to adjust your boundaries. Love doesn't mean turning a blind eye to disrespect. Love doesn't mean accepting pain as proof of loyalty. Love doesn't mean staying in a place where you're constantly diminished. Believing who someone truly is doesn't make you cold. It makes you wise. It protects your peace. It stops you from investing in illusions. Because one of the most painful experiences in life is not losing someone. It's losing yourself trying to convince them to be who you hope they were. So the next time someone shows you their true colors, don't repaint. Don't rationalize. Don't rewrite the story. Just step back and say, "I see you now," and that's enough. Because once you truly see someone's nature, you hold the power to decide whether to continue suffering or to start healing. Remember, believing someone's true colors isn't judgment, it's clarity. It's not bitterness, it's acceptance. It's not closing your heart, it's protecting it. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for them is to finally stop trying to change who they are and start changing where you stand. Letting go is not revenge, it's release. It's not about proving a point or showing someone what they lost. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional weight that's been pressing on your heart for far too long. It's about choosing peace over pride, healing over hatred, and freedom over fear. Many people think that walking away is an act of anger, but often it's an act of love, love for yourself, for your future, and for the quiet that your soul has been begging for. When someone hurts you repeatedly, your first instinct might be to make them see what they've done. You want them to understand your pain, to realize what they've lost, to regret the way they treated you. That's natural. You're human. But here's the truth. Waiting for someone to feel guilty or to apologize is like waiting for the rain to fall in a drought. It may never happen. And every moment you wait, you give them more control over your peace. Revenge may seem satisfying for a moment. The thought of making them miss you, making them see you happy without them, making them wish they'd treated you better. But that's not healing, that's still attachment. You're still tied to them, just through a different emotion. Whether it's love or hate, you're still letting them occupy your heart. Letting go, however, is different. Letting go means you've stopped playing the game. You've dropped the rope in the tug of war. You're no longer seeking validation, closure, or revenge. You're choosing silence, not because you don't care, but because you finally do. Revenge comes from ego. Release comes from wisdom. Ego says, they must feel what I felt. Wisdom says, I refuse to feel this anymore. Ego keeps you looking backward. Wisdom gently guides you forward. And when you finally understand that distinction, something incredible happens. The pain that once consumed you starts losing its power. You begin to see that you don't need them to change. You don't need an apology. You don't even need justice. You just need peace. Letting go doesn't mean you erase the past. It means you stop letting it dictate your present. You stop letting every memory, every flashback, every thought of them control how you feel. You start focusing on what's ahead, the version of you that's lighter, calmer, more grounded. Because holding on to anger, resentment, or disappointment doesn't punish the other person. It punishes you. It keeps your heart heavy and your mind restless. Think of it this way. If you were holding a burning coal in your hand, waiting to throw it at someone who hurt you, who would get burned first, you would. That's what anger does. That's what holding on does. It burns you before it ever reaches them. Letting go, on the other hand, is like dropping that coal. The pain doesn't vanish immediately, but the burning stops. The healing begins. Many people fear that letting go means you're weak, that you're giving up, that you've lost. But it's the opposite. It takes far more strength to walk away quietly than to stay and fight endlessly for something that only hurts you. It takes maturity to say, I don't hate you, but I can't stay here anymore. It takes grace to forgive and still move on without turning bitter. And here's the most beautiful part. When you truly let go, you don't need to explain it. You don't need to justify it. You just do it. Because peace doesn't need permission. You stop caring about what they think, what they say, or what they feel. Because finally, you matter. Your sanity matters. Your energy matters. Your life matters. The release is quiet, No big announcement, no confrontation, no dramatic ending. Just a gentle shift in your heart that says, I'm done suffering. And suddenly, you start breathing differently. You start waking up with clarity instead of confusion. You start realizing that you don't need revenge to heal. You just need to stop bleeding. When you release the bitterness, life begins to feel lighter. You smile again without forcing it. You trust again, not because you forgot what happened, but because you've outgrown the version of yourself that needed their validation. You finally see that peace is not something they can give you or take away. It's something you create when you stop chasing what's already gone. So, when you let go, don't let it be about proving anything. Let it be about becoming freer, wiser, softer, and stronger. You're not losing when you let go. You're winning back everything you lost trying to hold on. Because letting go isn't about them at all. It's about you, your growth, your healing, your freedom. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize the moment you stopped trying to get even was the moment you finally got ahead. Protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. Your peace is not just the absence of noise, it's the foundation of your well-being. It's that quiet space inside you where your heart can breathe, your mind can rest, and your soul can speak. Without peace, even the most beautiful things in life lose their meaning. You can have success, money, love, and recognition, but if your peace is gone, nothing truly feels good. And yet, we often give it away so easily. We hand our peace to people who don't know how to handle it, to situations that don't deserve it, and to problems that were never ours to fix. Every time you argue with someone who refuses to understand, you lose a piece of your peace. Every time you replay a conversation in your mind, trying to figure out what you could have said differently, you lose a piece of your peace. Every time you keep giving second chances to someone who keeps breaking your trust, you lose a piece of your peace. And piece by piece, you start to feel empty, not because life has taken too much from you, but because you've been giving your calm to chaos. There comes a time when you must decide what matters more: being right, being understood, being liked, or being at peace. Peace often demands silence when your ego wants to argue. It asks you to walk away when your pride wants to stay. It tells you to forgive when your pain wants revenge. Peace is not easy, but it's always worth it. Many people confuse peace with isolation, as if protecting your peace means cutting everyone off or building walls around your heart. But real peace isn't about shutting people out. It's about letting the right ones in. It's about knowing which battles are worth fighting and which ones are better left alone. It's about being able to sit in a room full of noise and still hear your inner calm. Protecting your peace means learning to say no without guilt. It means recognizing that not every invitation deserves your presence. Not every argument deserves your words. Not every conflict deserves your energy. You don't have to attend every fight you're invited to. Some people thrive on chaos. They find comfort in confusion. But you're not obligated to join their storm. Sometimes peace means smiling, stepping back, and letting silence speak louder than explanation. The truth is, your peace is your personal responsibility. No one else will protect it for you. The world will keep demanding, people will keep expecting, and life will keep throwing challenges at you. But it's your job to create boundaries. Without boundaries, your peace will always be under attack. Boundaries aren't walls to keep others out. They're fences that protect what's growing inside you. They say, I respect you, But I respect myself too. When you protect your peace, some people will call you distant. They'll say you've changed. They'll say you're cold. But that's okay. Because peace often looks like detachment to those who are used to your chaos. You're not becoming cold. You're becoming clear. You've just realized that peace feels better than proving your point. That silence heals more than arguments ever will. That walking away is sometimes the loudest form of self-respect. You owe it to yourself to protect your inner calm. Because when your peace is disturbed, everything else falls apart. Your thoughts, your focus, your energy, your relationships. But when your peace is protected, everything around you begins to align. Decisions become easier. Conversations become lighter. Life feels simpler. Protecting your peace also means protecting your thoughts. Because peace doesn't just come from avoiding toxic people, it comes from managing your own mind. The thoughts you entertain shape the reality you live in. Stop feeding your anxiety with what ifs. Stop replaying old hurts in your mind. Stop seeking validation from people who never valued your presence in the first place. Protect your mental space like you'd protect your home. Don't let just anyone walk in with muddy shoes. There will always be people who test your peace, intentionally or not. But the power lies in how you respond. You can react with anger and lose your calm, or you can respond with understanding and keep your balance. It's not about suppressing emotion, it's about mastering it. It's about choosing peace, even when chaos seems justified. That's real strength. When you begin to prioritize your peace, something magical happens. Life starts feeling lighter, calmer, more aligned. You start realizing that peace is not something you find, it's something you create. It's built moment by moment, choice, by deciding what you allow in and what you let go. So protect your peace fiercely. Guard it like it's treasure. Because it is. Don't let anyone, no matter how much you love them, take it away. Your peace is your power. It's your clarity, your energy, your ability to show up as your best self. Without it, even love becomes heavy. But with it, even solitude feels full. Protect your peace, because in the end, peace is not just what keeps you calm. It's what keeps you alive. Distance is not weakness, it's wisdom. Creating distance from someone who keeps hurting you is not a sign that you're cold or heartless. It's a sign that you finally understand the value of your own heart. Sometimes, the most painful part of letting go isn't the goodbye. It's the silence that follows. The empty space where their voice used to be. The sudden quiet where their chaos once lived. But distance is where healing begins. It is the space where you step out of the storm to rebuild your strength, where you separate your identity from the pain that person caused. People often say, if you really care, you wouldn't walk away. But sometimes you walk away because you care about yourself. And that care is overdue. When someone repeatedly hurts you, distance becomes a necessary protection. It becomes your shield. You may love them deeply, but love without respect becomes self-destruction. You can care about others and still choose you. You can hold compassion in your heart and still refuse to suffer. The truth is, closeness can blur clarity. When you're too close to someone, your heart tries to justify what your mind knows is wrong. You excuse behavior that shouldn't be excused. You minimize the disrespect. You twist yourself into someone unrecognizable just to keep the peace. But when you create distance, the fog begins to lift. You finally see the truth, not through the lens of love, but through the lens of reality. You see patterns. You see the manipulation. You see how much of yourself you were sacrificing just to keep them in your life. Distance allows your heart to catch up with what your soul already knows. Distance doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start caring correctly. Not by constantly forgiving wounds that never heal, not by pretending pain doesn't exist, and not by putting their happiness above your sanity. Distance is a declaration that your well-being is a priority, not an afterthought. It says, I deserve a life where love doesn't hurt. At first, distance hurts like nothing else. You will miss them. Of course you will. Healing doesn't erase memories overnight. Your mind will replay the good moments, the laughter, the promises, the potential you saw in them. It will try to convince you that losing them is too high a price for peace. But you must remember, those moments were the exception, not the pattern. If they were truly good for you, you wouldn't have needed distance in the first place. One of the hardest truths in life is that sometimes love remains, but compatibility doesn't. Sometimes the heart still wants what the soul knows is toxic. And that's why distance is necessary to break the emotional addiction. When you spend time away from the person who constantly disappoints or hurts you, you slowly detach. The hooks in your heart begin to loosen. The feelings that once held you hostage begin to lose their power. And before you know it, you wake up one day and realize you can breathe again, fully, freely, without fear. Distance teaches you what proximity hides, that you were carrying the relationship, that you were the one trying, that you were the one breaking to keep everything together. It shows you the imbalance, it reveals the truth, and sometimes that truth is the closure you never received in words. Creating distance doesn't always mean physical separation. Sometimes it's emotional distance. You stop expecting them to change. You stop seeking their approval. You stop explaining your worth to someone who refuses to see it. You detach quietly, gently, without anger, because anger is still a connection. Distance, real distance, means peace. And here's what distance ultimately gives you: your life back. Your laughter returns. Your confidence rebuilds. Your energy rises. Your future opens. You start seeing possibilities again. A love that doesn't drain you, friendships that feel safe, mornings that don't feel heavy. You learn that your heart is capable of healing, that your soul is strong enough to overcome what hurt it, and that you don't have to settle for pain disguised as love. Distance is not the end of love. It's the beginning of self-love. It's the moment you say, I deserve better, and mean it. It's the moment you choose healing over attachment, growth over familiarity, and peace over suffering. Yes, you will miss them. Yes, letting go will hurt. But staying would hurt far more. And one day, you look back and realize that distance didn't break you. It saved you. You didn't lose them. You found yourself.